It is Thursday night, and we are live for the Pierce Fleet Service Super Series. Tonight, the Studio 10 wraps 125 from the North Wilkesboro Speedway. I am Jeff By Jr., joined by Bill Tomer in the broadcast booth for another night of the Sim Auto Racing Association. Bill, another stack field tonight. Everybody made it into tonight's feature event, but still, I mean, big names here. Ryan Kuhn, Ty Majeski, Parker Retzlaff, the top three in practice right now.
I mean, it's a stacked field again, right? I mean, a little bit smaller field than we've seen here in the Super Series, but still, not by many, right? But still, such a stacked group of drivers. I mean, these guys, and it's North Wilkesboro, man. At North Wilkesboro week, here we go, because we're going to kick off. Well, we're going to go into it next week, I guess, but SARA did that on purpose, right? We're going to race North Wilkesboro right as the real drivers start to hit North Wilkesboro next week.
Yeah, and how can you not be excited about North Wilkesboro coming up on the schedule? I mean, it's not often we see racetracks come back from the dead, close 20 years. And I mean, I know when they started that, they tried to do that modified race and the super late model race, and a lot of people said, well, they did that, but it'll never host NASCAR again. And look what's happened, right? NASCAR is going to be back at North Wilkesboro, and the track, if you haven't seen pictures of it, it looks amazing.
Yeah, I got to visit it last year, and that was before they did all the improvements that they've done so far earlier this year. And I need to get back. I won't be able to this week, but I want to see all the stuff that they did. I mean, new grandstands. They paved the entire infield. I mean, it's really, really cool looking now. So a lot of changes in the last few months. So I can't wait to see it on TV.
Absolutely. We're getting set to go for round number 5 of the Pierce Fleet Service Super Series here at SARA. And tonight, the Studio 10 wraps 125. These cars are starting to grid. They're going to take to the grid here just a few minutes. Qualifying happened earlier on tonight. And you're going to not have an invert, but it does mix up the top 8. A kind of a handicap system. Going to move those guys around.
Yeah, I still don't even understand how that works, Jeff.
So it's your top 8 cars. Your top 8 cars are inverted by where they stand in the points. So your quick qualifier, Ty Majeski, going to start 7th tonight.
Got you. That's pretty cool. I actually like how they do that. That's neat. And the guys here at SARA are able to put that together very quickly, so we don't miss a whole lot of time.
Absolutely. So let's start gridding for tonight's Studio 10 wraps 125 on the pole. And car number 10, it'll be Cameron Hamilton on the outside of him. Number 21, it's Kyle Eli.
Starting 3rd in the number 600, but 6th on the car, that is Joe Schaefer Jr. And 2 is outside in the number 2, it's Parker Retzlaff.
Starting 5th tonight, car number 60, it'll be Parker Trays on the outside of him. And the 33, it's Brett Suggs.
Truck Series driver, NASCAR Truck Series driver Ty Majeski starts 7th in the 98 car, and 2 is outside in the 72. New look for him this week. That's Ryan Kuhn.
Starting 9th, the 32 machine of Trevor Edwards on the outside of him. In the 16, it'll be Daniel Pope II.
Ryan Nardone is going to start 11th in the number 53 machine, and 2 is outside, starting 12th in the number 88. It's Kyle Meyer.
Starting 13th tonight in the 33 machine, it'll be Hugo Paquette on the outside of him. In the 116, it's Dustin Momberquet.
Starting 15th in the 110, that's RS Center, and 2 is outside in the 78. It's Aaron Johnson.
Starting 17th tonight in the 13 machine, it's Jinx Josh Cottle on the outside of him. And the number 8, it's John Ouellette.
Aaron Abendroth will roll off P19 in the number 65, and 2 is outside in the number 13. It's Guillaume 14.
Starting 21st, making a Super Series debut, the 07, a Super Zach Onen on the outside of him. And car number 91, it'll be Dylan Bates.
Spencer Dickinson rolls off P23 in the number 6, and 2 is outside of the number 66 machine. That is Eric Tracy.
Keith Jeffrey will start 25th in car number 88 on the outside of him. In the 0 machine, it'll be Matt Rolfe.
Richie Murray, shotgun on the field in the number 8 car, 27 cars for, how many laps are we running at? 125?
125, yeah. Long race, so I'm guessing tire strategy going to be big tonight, because this is a longer race here at North Wilkesboro, and we've seen it. The tires on these things are wearing out, and these guys, if you abuse them too hard, I heard last week some guys were having issues with tires, and you can burn the tires up and even blow them out.
I think this is one of the tracks that we expected tire wear to be an issue, so expect these guys to save in this race. Lights are out on the pace car. They are doubled up. Cameron Hamilton, Kyle Eli going to lead us to the green flag. I think this one's going to be a fun one, Jeff. Watch for some exciting action early and often in this race in North Wilkesboro.
Absolutely. Looks like pace car going to go around. No, pace car heading off the racetrack. So we're getting set to go green. Cam Hamilton on the pole for the Studio 10 Wraps 125. We are green flag racing for round number 5 of the Pierce Fleet Service Super Series.
Cam Hamilton, Kyle Eli going to be side by side down the back straightaway. They have not settled it for the lead yet. Now they have. Cameron Hamilton going to pull ahead. First battle on the racetrack. Parker Retzlaff still up the track in that number 2. Parker Traves goes by on the inside of the 60.
The first 6 cars have single filed out. It's Ty Majeski and Ryan Kuhn that were battling side by side. Majeski able to clear Kuhn. Here comes Trevor Edwards in the 32 machine up the inside. Trevor Edwards was points leader last week, but missed the race due to being on vacation, so he's got some ground to make up right now.
We saw Kyle Eli got a little, was that Eli there? And the 88 car or Kyle Meyer got a little bit of the curve there coming off of turn number 2. Did a good job to hold that car underneath him. He's going to make the move now. They're trying to go by the 98 car of Ty Majeski. Majeski caught on the outside, sliding back at the moment.
Yeah, I see Majeski and Ryan Kuhn has sunk back, now getting passed by Daniel Pope. He does get to the bottom there. He's going to cut down in front of Hugo, but can't get to the bottom. But it didn't seem like Ryan Kuhn was in any hurry here. He's just content to just ride around, save some tire. He has sunk deep into the field, about 12th place.
I think that tire saving thing's going to be a thing. I think that's what we're going to see. RS Center here up the track just a little bit in the 110. He's got a challenge from Josh Cottle on the bottom in the 13. This could be a battle for the 15th spot. Right behind them, Dylan Bates, Aaron Abendroth, they're side by side.
Oh, Kyle Eli has gotten out front of Cam Hamilton and leads the way. The top 4 cars starting to break away from Parker Retzlaff, who runs 5th. He's got Brett Suggs and fast-moving Trevor Edwards behind him. Looks like Trevor is content to get to the front early. Trouble down the front straightaway. RS Center got together with Guillaume 14. They are both off the pace, and looks like RS going to get back up to speed, but he's going to lose a couple spots there to John Ouellette and Eric Tracy.
The RS Center drops back to 21st.
Daniel Pope on the move as he tries to get around Dustin Monberquette. This is a battle inside the top 10. Actually, for the 10th position. Monberquette going to make the crossover, not going to let Pope have it. So here he comes back up the inside this time.
That's your first battle on the racetrack. Daniel Pope and Dustin Monberquette battling inside or just outside the top 10, or actually battling for the top 10. This is a challenge for the 10th spot. Right in front of them, you can see that's Kyle Meyer on the bottom. He's going to look to go around Brett Suggs. And Jeff, I think we're going to see some extreme tire saving. You saw Ryan Kuhn doing that just a moment ago. I think Ty Majeski was doing that as well. You see guys kind of going forward, going backward to see how these guys play it. But we've been at short tracks for a while, Jeff. They got really used to pushing these cars really hard. It's going to be interesting to see how these tires work throughout the race.
Well, Trevor Edwards doesn't seem to be saving much, and neither does Kyle Meyer, has moved up from 12th to 7th. Trevor Edwards runs 6th. They just got around Brett Suggs. And they are both on the move right now, trying to get to the front. And we've seen this. It works out for some of these guys. If they can get out to the front, they can set a pace in the lead, control the race, and then start saving tires. But still a long ways to go right now as they run 6th and 7th on the racetrack. Monberquette and Pope just cannot settle this battle for 10th.
It's a gaggle of cars right here. Is Monberquette and Pope, those two 16s. They stay side by side. Ryan Kuhn right behind them, going to be side by side with Hugo Paquette. And right behind them, you can see Josh Cottle. He's kind of underneath Dylan Bates, but now Dylan Bates looking to make the move on Ryan Kuhn on the high side. That's not normal.
Yeah, Dylan Bates up a lot of spots as well, from 22nd to 14th right now. Make that 13th as he passes Ryan Kuhn at the start-finish line. So Dylan Bates is making the top side work, and he is gaining a lot of spots as everybody's really kind of saving right now. And you're seeing the field start to stack up behind Brett Suggs. Still Kyle Eli out front, but with some movement for second as Parker Traves dives underneath Cameron Hamilton. Hamilton going to get out of the way, let the 60 take the second spot. Here comes Joe Schaefer. He's going to try to take advantage and go for third here. And Traves already ran down Kyle Eli. They lost a little time there being side by side, but Traves really setting a torrid pace. He has already caught Eli and starting to make a move on your race leader. There it is for the lead. Parker Traves to the front. Kyle Eli going to let him have it. Just slots back in line.
That battle with Daniel Pope and Dustin Monberquette continues to rage, Jeff. Now they've swapped sides. Daniel Pope on the bottom, Monberquette on the high side, but they are still continuing this battle for 10th.
Yeah, I'm not sure you necessarily need to wear your tires out battling this hard. Is Monberquette going to try to tie back under Pope again? Caused Hugo Paquette to check up, and that checked up Dylan Bates in the 91. So they finally get single file, but now Parker Retzlaff up the racetrack. He's going to let Trevor Edwards go and Kyle Meyer, who have ran him down. And Retzlaff, again, just not in a hurry. Going to let these guys go.
Ryan Kuhn and Ty Majeski continue to go side by side back here. This is a battle for the 13th position. And these guys just sitting side by side right behind them. You got Josh Cottle and Aaron Avendroth. It's almost like a 2x2 pace car. So they're just stacking the field up behind them.
Yeah, and some of these guys with nowhere to go. That's Josh Cottle in the 13, Aaron Avendroth in the 65, and they're just like, well, one of you just get out of the way, please. Right now, there's just no place to go as Kuhn and Majeski kind of side by side. Well, Parker Traves out front. Kyle Eli in tow with Joe Schaefer running third. Cam Hamilton started on the pole, is running fourth. Trevor Edwards from 9th to 5th. Kyle Meyer from 12th to 6th. Parker Retzlaff runs 7th. Daniel Pope 8th. Brett Suggs 9th. And Dustin Monberquette is running 10th, but they are actually going around Brett Suggs. So here comes Hugo Paquette looking for 10th on Brett Suggs.
We talked about the kind of racing we could have here at North Wilkesboro. Nice wide track, easy to get around. These guys put on a show right now. Show up front, but that insane pack, Jeff, continues to do its thing. As Majeski still on the high side. Ryan Kuhn on the bottom has now cleared Majeski. Here comes Josh Cottle underneath Majeski as they almost make contact off the 4. But now Josh Cottle, I think Josh Cottle wants to go. He just has nowhere to go right now. As Majeski right to the door through 1 and 2.
Yeah, the 13 has been watching some of his shop teammates pull away up there in the top 10, and I think Cottle is ready to get up there and race with them. As Ryan Kuhn finally settles this battle with Majeski, it's going to pull Josh Cottle by. John Ouellette was on the bottom side of the racetrack, so he's going to slip ahead of Aaron Avendroth. Now he's going to try to get around Majeski. Avendroth just stuck on the outside behind the 98 because here comes the 53er Ryan Nardone.
We're going to jump inside with Nardone, ride with him here for a minute, in-car camera. You can see what it looks like to get around this North Wilkesboro Speedway. Remember, this one runs uphill and downhill. This track was built on the side of a small hill. As you go down the backstretch here, you're going uphill. Then you turn around through 3 and 4, and you go downhill down the front straightaway. So you got to be careful going into turn number 1. You don't want to slide the right front tire and get this thing worn out.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we've been green for 26 laps here, if we're going to have green flag runs like this, tire management going to be extremely important. As you see the 53 car, that is the Ryan Nardone. I believe this might be his first career Super Series race.
I think it's his second, Jeff. I think we've seen him one more time filling in for Justin Laxton.
Yeah, filling in for Justin Laxton. I don't
But
think
he didn't make the race. That's right.
Yeah.
He was the only guy that had to go home, I believe.
Yeah, so I think this might be his first start. As John Ouellette getting around Ty Majeski just can't quite clear the 98. Now he does. Here comes Nardone up the inside. Not a bad way to spend your first SARA Super Series race, right? Running with Truck Series racer Ty Majeski.
No kid. Tell your friends about this one.
Well, Parker Traves still out front, holding about 3/10 over Kyle Eli. It's been that way a while. Joe Schaefer, Cam Hamilton. Now, Trevor Edwards has ran down the top 4. When I talked about it, Trevor Edwards was on the rails right now, just running some of the best laps on the racetrack. He's now ran down the top 4. Majeski was able to hold off Nardone. Now Nardone and Aaron Avendroth battling back there for 17th position. Avendroth on the outside. As this field is really starting to get spread out at this moment.
Got another driver right there, and you see him in the black and pink 07 making his Super Series debut in that 07 car. That is none other than Super Zach Oden. If you're familiar with our In the Zone Racing races, Zach has been around, was in the Final Four for the Late Model Challenger Series last season. He's filling in for Kyle Martinson, so he's running his first Super Series race as well.
And that Velocity Motorsports 07 is, it looked like Avondroth got around Nardone. Now Gium 14 jumps to the outside, so G gonna try the top side, and a little damage to the nose of the 13. Looked like he might have been in the back of somebody at some point.
I think that was the RS Center incident, Jeff. When he
oh yeah,
he
you're right.
Damage on the front straightaway when he and RS Center made contact.
Well, car's still running well as he goes around Nardone on the top side of the racetrack, and here comes Spencer Dickinson looking underneath Zach Oden. This is a battle back there for 21st position. Majeski and Ouellette battling as well. This is for 15th. Ouellette got up the racetrack. Majeski gonna try to take advantage here. The top now 8 cars, or actually make that 7 cars, with Daniel Pope, Kyle Meyer and Daniel Pope have caught in the top pack. And look who is on the move. Trevor Edwards has gotten around both Cam Hamilton and Joe Schaefer. So move Trevor Edwards up to the 3rd spot, and he is absolutely flying right now.
Trevor Edwards has been Mr. Late Model Stock. We've talked about it multiple times with him as he's put his car in the top 3, if not victory lane, multiple times now. And he just feels it in this car, really likes it. He and Josh Cottle have really kind of gone to another level in this Late Model Stock. And here Trevor Edwards once again moving forward in that 32.
And he's got a great balance between saving and track position. And we're seeing a lot of drivers like Ryan Kuhn and Majeski. I mean, they've slipped well outside the top 10 now, saving tires. But here's Trevor Edwards, and he's always fast at the end of these races, and he doesn't seem to have to save as much as everybody else. He really seems to have figured this thing out. As Cam Hamilton up the racetrack trouble for the 10. And he actually got on the radio. He said he had a screen freeze up and almost disastrous.
Actually, fantastic job not to put that car in the fence. It's basically like a bird landing on your windshield in the middle of the race. Like, nothing you can do. You can't see it. The hood flap, or the hood jumps up and lands on the windshield, Jeff. That's nothing you can really do for a moment there. You just kind of guess where you're going, and he was able to get it moving again.
Yeah, unfortunately, didn't collect anybody behind him. That was Joe Schaefer, Kyle Meyer, and Daniel Pope. So move Schaefer up into the 4th spot in front of Kyle Meyer in 5th. Daniel Pope up to 6th. And again, the top 4 have started to, or top 3 have started to separate themselves, as I think Parker Traves might have seen that 32 coming and decided to pick up the pace just a bit here.
We're already working lap 42. So laps are clicking off pretty quick in this race, 18-second laps. We got to run 125 of them, and I really start to worry about the pace these guys are running and what their tires are going to do later on in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of these guys further back in the field, they're probably loving this green flag run because they're thinking to themselves, those guys battling up there at the front are just burning their stuff up. But Bill, the problem is if you never get that yellow, I mean, I don't want to say that we're not going to have a yellow, but if you never get that yellow, then you've got a ton of track position to make up.
I think we've seen it before, Jeff. Guys that didn't get the yellow still were able to do some damage and move their way forward. I think South Boston was one of those racetracks where we didn't have a ton of yellows. And guys like Brett Suggs, who was doing what we called extreme tire saving, was able to move through the field and make his way into the top 5. This will be interesting. This is a big, big racetrack, but these guys, at some point, you got to figure probably around halfway, Jeff, we're going to start getting real racy.
Yeah, absolutely. Cam Hamilton tried to get to the pits, hit the inside wall. I think he's having issues and flipped himself over, but he is off into the pit road. He's trying to bail out, get out of the way of the field. I think he probably had another lockup there or something. And fortunately, didn't come back across the racetrack. That was kind of a scary moment for the 10 of Cam Hamilton. But we are still green flag racing, 47 laps into this one from the start. So So Parker trades out front of Kyle Eli. Trevor Edwards runs third. Joe Schaefer, Kyle Meyer, Daniel Pope, Hugo Paquette, Dylan Bates, Dustin Marquette, and Josh Cottle, your top 10. Parker Retzlaff runs 11th with Brett Suggs, Ryan Kuhn, Ty Majeski, and John Ouellette in your top 15. But now the 13 car, Guillaume 14, trying to take that 15th spot away as Ouellette is up the racetrack. Looks like G not able to clear him, but he will get that 15th spot at the line.
Side by side down the back straightaway, Guillaume 14 and John Ouellette not able to settle this at the moment. And now 14, he's going to clear him coming off turn number 4. Ouellette's probably going to have to slow down just a little bit not to get into the 13 car. He'll sling it down to the top side through 1 and 2, but here comes Eric Tracy in the 66. He's going to try to follow Guillaume 14, and they make contact down the back straightaway.
Now a little door bait in there down the back straightaways. Eric Tracy tries to move forward on the inside line. Ouellette on the outside line. Behind them, Spencer Dickinson and Aaron Abendroth battle as well. So field really starting to get aggressive here as we get 51 laps into this one.
And we knew the price of poker would start to go up, Jeff. And I think it's a little earlier than I expected. The guy's starting to think about how long is this race going to go green flag racing. Now, Ouellette's going to cross Eric Tracy over. That's a danger in this late model stock. We've seen that over and over again on every single racetrack. When you come off the corner, the guy on the top can cross you over going on the bottom. He gets momentum.
Yeah, you can get some big runs from the top side of this racetrack, and that's what we're seeing. Some guys crossing over and try to get huge runs as Zach Owen and Aaron Abendroth battle for 20th on the racetrack.
These guys are normally teammates in every other race they run, Jeff, but not tonight. Zach Owen driving a Velocity Motorsports car in that 07. So Owen going to get the best of Aaron Abendroth as he's going to move forward, and he'll move into the 19th spot.
Well, out front, it's Parker Traves, about 2/10 over Kyle Eli. Eli's kind of just stalking the 60 machine at this point. And now they've started to open up a gap over Trevor Edwards, about 1 second back to Trevor Edwards in third. Joe Schaefer runs 4th, Kyle Meyer 5th. And we're starting to see this field spread out, but build a nice big half-mile racetrack and still a long ways from seeing lap traffic. RS Center is about half a track ahead of where Parker Traves is.
I think this place is even larger than a half mile, isn't it, Jeff? Like it's closer to 3/4? Not even, it doesn't matter, but you're right. It really doesn't matter, but there isn't a whole lot of lap traffic to be worried about at the moment. And the other part of that, Jeff, is even though these guys are spreading out pretty good, they're all still very fast. And so it's not like there's a slower car that's falling behind the field. They're all kind of just pacing themselves. At any point, the guys that are running last can pick up some speed and try to move back towards the field.
Yeah, last car on the racetrack right now is RS Center, who's running 19 zeros. Your leader, Parker Traves, last time by ran an 18.8. So, I mean, he's only gaining 0.2 of a second on the back end of the field. So, still tons of open track ahead of Parker Traves. No lap traffic to worry about. It's going to take a huge green flag run to get into that lap traffic here. And it is a 0.63 mile racetrack.
Okay, so it was a little bit bigger. Not quite a 3/4 mile racetrack, but a little larger than a half mile. That is a weird length for a racetrack.
I think it's one of those situations back in the day when North Wilkesboro was built. They just started building. I don't think they ever planned anything out. I think it's kind of like how Darlington has such a funky shape. They just started building it. They didn't think about what it was going to look like.
Hugo Paquette just made the move on Daniel Pope. Moved Hugo up to 6. Dylan Bates followed him through that hole. Pope went up the racetrack in 3 and 4. Let those guys go. Daniel Pope slides back to the 8th spot.
Again, Hugo Paquette on the move. Started 13th tonight, up to 6th. Dylan Bates 22nd to 7th. So that Jeff By Jr. Art Hard Charger Award. Right now, Dylan Bates leads the way on that one. Behind them, Dustin Marquette runs 9th. Josh Cottle started 17th. He is up to 10th. And then he's got Parker Retzlaff just outside the top 10 and 11th behind him. Brett Suggs runs 12th with Ryan Kuhn and Ty Majeski in tow. Eric Tracy that time got by Guillaume 14, so moved Tracy up into the 15th position. Tracy started 24th tonight.
So we just gave you a camera shot going into turn number 1 there. You saw the entire field go by, and you saw that there's still pretty good size, about a quarter of a racetrack between the leader and the car in front of him. Almost a straightaway, right around straightaway.
Well, Bill, we are just past halfway on this one, so it feels like we've been green forever, and we just got past halfway. So this is a long, long race, and I think some of these guys out front have got to start being concerned about how much abuse they put on the tires. If you see a yellow at this point, I feel like it could just be a disaster, right? Like you definitely don't want these guys that have been cruising around in the back saving tires to gain all this track position on you.
Right. That's going to be the problem. You don't want to see a yellow if you're out front at the moment. You want the track position you've got is what you've got running on the racetrack. As soon as the pace car comes out, that's all gone, and these guys have better tires than you do. Parker Traves maybe isn't as concerned about that as much as some of the cars that were trying to run with him that are sitting about 10th and that they have no buffer. Traves has quite a bit of buffer that, cars that they would have to pass to get to him. But at the same time, you still just never want to see it. For Parker Traves, you want this race to go green, unless you're worried about your own tires. Then you might want a yellow just to gain some laps and not be wearing these tires out.
Well, Traves out front, but again, Kyle Eli has just been matching him lap for lap up front. Traves not able to leave Eli at all. So that 21 machine just right in tow. Trevor Edwards has closed the gap just slightly. It's down about 0.9 of a second up to your leaders with Joe Schaefer behind him and a little bit back, about half a second back as Kyle Meyer runs fifth. Then a little bit of gap back to Hugo Paquette and Dylan Bates, who have now started to put some distance on Daniel Pope, who's going to be under fire once again from Dustin Monberquette. These two have been battling a lot tonight. And Pope going to let Monberquette go here.
We just rode with Kyle Eli for a moment. You could see that the laps that he was making, Jeff, it didn't look like he was scrubbing tires or anything. It just looks like nice, easy laps in the 21 car. That's probably how he feels about that race car. And at that point, it's just going to be speed, right? He's not sliding the tires, so it's just going to be how fast these tires wear based on how fast you were going on an abrasive racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more you slide the car around, the harder you are on the tires, the more you start to throw off the balance. So right now, these guys are starting to get to the point of that run where they're going to start feeling the setup change, right? That they probably set this car up to either be tight or loose to start, and they're going to get their preference towards the end of the run. And this is about the point where that car is going to start to turn towards what that driver's preference was for the end of the race.
Time at Jeski's really tight on Ryan Kuhn's back bumper. I was just looking at the scoreboard here that we have, this timing and scoring, Jeff, and I was looking for a interval between cars, and that one was the closest. It was within 0.2, so I went back to look at it, and yeah, he's right there.
Yeah, these two running in the 13th and 14th positions behind Brett Suggs in 12th. And again, they slip back outside the top 10 early on, and they've just been content to ride. No pressure right now, it doesn't seem like, for Brett Suggs or Ryan Kuhn or Ty Majeski.
Zach Onen's got a couple of cars in tow that are pretty tight on him as well. Zach running in the 18th position. Keith Jeffries there in the 88. Right behind him, Aaron Johnson in the 78. Those guys are all within a couple of tenths of each other.
Well, the last few laps, Parker Traves has started to open up the gap on Kyle Eli. It's now half a second to the 21 machine, who's starting to fall into the clutches of the 32 of Trevor Edwards. Edwards starting to reel Eli in here.
We're going to jump in Parker Traves' cockpit and see what his laps look like.
We just had another pass further back as Parker Retzlaff caught Daniel Pope and actually Josh Cottle as well, and Pope just let them go. So moved Daniel Pope back into the 11th position. But you can see Trevor Edwards really starting to gain on Kyle Eli now. Eli back to 0.6 of a second behind Parker Traves. Looks like the 21 machine, he's either slowed his pace, maybe he's worried about tires, or that car is starting to fade. And here comes Edwards. Edwards going to take a look underneath the 21 machine through 1 and 2. And Eli not even going to try to defend that one. He's going to let Trevor Edwards go, just tucked in line.
Trevor Edwards starting to light the lamp, starting to turn it up just a little bit with about 47 laps remaining. Moves himself up into second place. Now he has a little bit of a gap, about a 0.7 of a second gap out to Parker Traves. We did jump on board with Parker Traves for just a little bit Rick Rubin in the chat, the ravishing one, was asking to see if he could see Parker Trave's hands and what his laps looked like to see what it looked like versus Kyle Eli. And you can see that Parker was doing just about the same thing, looking like they're driving pretty easy. But look at Trevor Edwards, Jeff. He's already knocked it down about a tenth. 32 cars coming once again.
A little movement further back in the field as Ryan Kuhn goes around Brett Suggs. Suggs drops down behind Kuhn. So Majeski now behind Brett Suggs. We hit lap 81, and Ryan Kuhn maybe starting to turn up the heat a little bit here. I think he might be thinking, hey, maybe I need to start getting on it and start trying to run down these leaders.
You think Ryan Kuhn put a throwback scheme together for Wilkesboro?
I believe so. I definitely different than his normal green, right?
Yeah, he usually has a pretty fancy looking race car, and that one is definitely a throwback scheme. Altogether very cool as he starts to put pressure on Daniel Pope. Daniel Pope running around in 11th. Daniel, he might have burnt up the 16 cars. He gets out of the way of all 3 of those cars. He'll drop all the way back to 14th. Ryan Kuhn moving forward.
Well, another car that significantly dropped off the pace is Aaron Abendroth, who's just gone a lap down. He's running 26, but we saw Aaron up near the top 15 a little bit ago, and it seems like that car has fallen off significantly, and he is now a lap down.
Those drivers are affiliated, Daniel Pope and Aaron Abendroth, the 65 and the 16. Probably running very, 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 very similar setups, if not the same setups all together. So maybe those cars starting to struggle a little bit as we get way later in this race. 84 laps down, working lap 85.
Well, Parker Trave's lead has started to evaporate here. It's under 0.3 of a second to Trevor Edwards, who is flying once again. They have now put a second on Kyle Eli, and now Parker Traves can see the back of the field. That's Richie Murray in the 8 machine that's next to go a lap down.
Let's start talking about a little bit of driver, the concentration level, but a little bit of fatigue from these guys. 80, 85, 86 straight laps. I know it sounds ridiculous, but sim racing with these guys with the force feedback and everything they run and the level of concentration that you have to run, 86 laps straight is not normal.
Well, and that's what I was thinking right off the bat when I saw Aaron Abendroth slowing down, that he's on that motion rig, and I bet that wears you out.
Yeah, no doubt.
Aaron, that might be your trouble right there. I mean, 85 laps on the motion rig has got to be brutal as Richie Murray goes a lap down.
Richie Murray's struggling. That car's all over the place right now.
Yeah. It's almost like he slid the right rear too many times, and now there's nothing left on the right rear tire. And
I wonder if getting up in the marbles hurts at all either, because he's letting all these lead lap cars go by, and you can see on the racetrack, you can see it in the broadcast, that there are marbles up off the racing line.
Well, Trevor Edwards has caught Parker Traves, so that lead that Traves had is gone, and now the 32 is trying to set up a run here on Traves. Traves going to try to shut the door, almost some contact into turn 3.
Tried to make the move. Traves did not let him go by this late in the run. That is not something Parker, and you can see Parker Traves slide the 60 car into turns 1 and 2. That's going to burn up the right rear really quick. Here comes Trevor Edwards in the 32. Doesn't have the run. Traves shuts the door again into turn 3.
Yeah, obviously the 32 is a little quicker at this stage in the race, about 35 laps to go for the 60 machine, but he's out front, and he's going to make it hard for Trevor Edwards to get a run on him. You can see that 32 back up his corner entry, gets a huge run down the back straightaway, and there's nothing Parker Traves can do to defend against that. Trevor Edwards going to go to the race lead.
That was called getting below the driver, getting inside, and actually being there. That's a good pass from Trevor Edwards. Now Parker Traves going to look to go to the inside down in turn number 1. Trevor Edwards gives him a little bit of room, but he's going to get a nice run off of turn 2, and he'll clear Parker, get him by about a car length down the back straightaway.
Yeah, that 32 machine is just so planted on the racetrack that even taking the outside line there, he was able to gain some momentum. And now Joe Schaefer trying to get around Kyle Eli. Eli up the racetrack. Here's a battle for third as Schaefer trying to move forward in the 6 machine. And don't look now, here's Kyle Meyer. Kyle Meyer just gained on these two because they're running side by side.
I'll tell you what, Jeff, those guys there that were saving tires, they're 12th and 13th, those guys that had fallen back, they really need a yellow right now. The laps are now starting to click off very quickly. Some of these guys that are up front are starting to pick up the pace just a little bit. They're running the 18.8s, 18.7s, and guys like Ryan Kuhn, they're still running those same times, Jeff, because they got to drive through the field.
Well, Parker Retzlaff is on the move, and he just went around Hugo Paquette, as well as Josh Cottle, who's now caught Dustin Monberquette, one of his shop teammates. We'll see if Monberquette lets the 13 go or if he's going to race him here. This is a battle 4-6 on the racetrack. think we had a self-spin. I think Richie Murray went around off turn 4 possibly.
That was coming. He might have had a flat right rear. The way that car was driving, that was not good.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to get off the racetrack, and he was struggling a lot with that car, so he is off the racetrack. Guillaume 14 also off the racetrack as well, so trouble for the number 30 machine. Or 13, rather.
Dylan Bates just lost his spot to Ryan Kuhn. Ryan Kuhn has turned up the wick in the 72 car. He is moving now. But not really running that much of a faster lap than the leaders. He's just let's see what it looks like this time by. This time at 18.815 with the leader running at 18.953, and he's about 4.5 seconds back. So he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and a lot of cars to pass. He's gonna need a yellow, and I think that's what those guys were banking on. Hey, we're gonna have a caution eventually, but maybe not. Maybe you're not gonna get a caution eventually here at North Wilkesboro. As Brett Suggs trying to get around Dylan Bates. These two are battling side by side. This is a battle for 11th. Well, Trevor Edwards has opened up his lead to half a second over Parker Traves. Joe Schaefer did get around Kyle Eli. Kyle Meyer followed through his 4th. Kyle Eli runs 5th. Dustin Monberquette runs 6th. Josh Cottle 7th. Parker Retzlaff has gained on that battle and sits in the 8th position. Retzlaff is really just pushing it right now because he has just caught Josh Cottle, and he gave him a little bump through 3 and 4 and just let him know, hey, I'm already here. You might want to get out of the way. It looks like Cottle's going to do just that. Gave him some room through 1 and 2, so Retzlaff to the bottom, and then trying to take over this 7th position.
Retzlaff going to stay to the inside, down the front straightaway. Retzlaff's trying to turn up the wick as well, and he sees that 72 in his mirror. It is time to go. I thought Cottle was starting to show a strong car. Now he's getting passed. Retzlaff up into that 7th spot, and here comes Ryan Kuhn, the 72.
Yeah, Ryan Kuhn also on the moves, trying to... I feel like between the 2 and the 72, it's kind of one of those deals where they're going to need to stay out front of one another, because if that strategy works out, if they do finally get their caution, being that first guy on the fresh tires is going to pay off. And so right now, Parker Retzlaff's key is to stay ahead of Ryan Kuhn. And Parker Traves under attack as Joe Schaefer goes around him, but that opened up the door for Kyle Meyer. Meyer is going to get underneath Schaefer as he passed Parker Traves. So Meyer going for 2nd, and we got a caution. Daniel Pope is around right in front of your leader.
Oh, wow. We finally get a caution with Daniel Pope going around into 16. Pope down the pit lane. Let's take a look and see what happened to him.
I think Pope got on the radio, was saying he was going to have to come down pit road. And I think the 53 got into the back of him, not realizing, that car's slowing down, and turned the 16 down.
I wonder if Pope had blown a tire. Now, I think Kyle Meyer almost got involved in that one.
Yeah, that was close. If Pope had just pulled that car down on the pit road, I think Kyle Meyer would have T-boned him.
Maybe a little bit of inexperience from the 53 driver there. I don't know if he doesn't run with his audio on. Pope tried to call it, and the 53 just got into him as he tried to. Can't stick your hand out the window in virtual racing, right, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I heard on the radio from Daniel Pope, blew the right front tire, so he was trying to get onto pit road. Right front tire was gone, and he is sitting on pit road right now after contact with Ryan Nardone. First caution of the race, lap 106, Bill. That was a heck of a green flag run.
Insane, and I think it's probably... It might be. This one's about to be exciting. We're going to watch cars like Parker Retzlaff, Ryan Kuhn. The other car, Ty Majeski, he really hasn't kept up, unfortunately. Spencer Dickinson was saving tires running towards the back of the field in the 6. He might be able to move forward as well. All those cars, they were playing a strategy, and it was not going to work as long as we stayed green flag racing. But here is the yellow that they needed. Now they have the opportunity to be on the bumper. These cars have been running out front all night long. We'll have to see if they can hold off those cars that have fresher tires.
Yeah, absolutely. And Trevor Edwards probably didn't want to see that caution. He had about a 1 second lead over Joe Schaefer. He was checked out. I mean, just under 25 laps to the finish, and unfortunately now it is going to stack the whole field up behind him.
Rick Rube in the chat says, poker's looking pricey. I'd say
yes,
100%. Poker is through the roof. All the chips are in at this point. You've got what you've got, and we know that there are guys that are sinking through the field. Parker Traves is struggling right now with his race car. But Trevor Edwards, he looked very good there, and it looked like Kyle Meyer was going to be a car to watch towards the end. So we'll see how those guys fare as we are about to, I think, get lights out on the pace car.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned it right at the top of this race that Trevor Edwards is one of those guys that just has a knack for being able to go to the front and save tires at the same time, and you're seeing it. Even 106 laps into this race, he was still one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. Maybe not as fast as Retzlaff and Kuhn, but he's up front, and he's going to be in control of this restart. And Kuhn and Retzlaff are sitting back in that fourth row. They still got a lot of cars to pass if they want to challenge for the win here.
And we saw Daniel Pope already blow a right front tire. How many more cars in these last 15 laps are going to have that same fate? There are a lot of cars that push their race cars. We'll see what happens, see if some of those other guys have that same issue.
Well, here we go. Back to Green Flag Racing in the studio. 10 wraps, 125 pace cars off the racetrack. And Trevor Edwards takes his Green Flag Racing once again. The 6 car getting pushed right now. It just didn't get going very well, and that's going to allow Kyle Meyer to try to take over second. But Schaefer going to battle back on the outside. And Parker Traves kind of pushed that 6 machine up to speed.
A couple of guys getting down onto that curb down the inside of turn number 3. They all keep it going. Parker Retzlaff struggled off the bottom that time through turns 3 and 4. Ryan Kuhn was able to go by him. Ryan Kuhn moves up to the 7th spot, but still a ton of cars for him to go through with only 14 laps remaining.
Kuhn made a move back to the top, but he can't find a way past Kyle Eli and Dustin Monberquette. Now he's going to think 3 wide. I think he's going to back out of that one, maybe go back to the top again. He's just stuck in traffic.
And we know, look, you can see his hands inside the car, Jeff, just back and forth. That car is a little bit loose, sliding all over the place, but he wants to use everything he can possibly get right now. Thank you, Ryan Kuhn, for wearing green gloves. What a shot.
Ooh, Retzlaff got in the back of Eli. That's going to check everybody up. It looked like Cottle might have gotten in the back of Retzlaff. Everybody's going to save it, but now Retzlaff really struggling. He's well behind the field. And Ryan Kuhn gets around Brett Suggs. Now he's trying to go around Parker Traves. And that 33 dove down there as well as Traves sideways off 4.
Traves sliding. Monberquette here under fire from Ryan Kuhn. He had just got by Parker Traves. Now Ryan Kuhn, the faster car in that 72. Now 72, he's going to slide. Kuhn had to slide down into 1 as Monberquette closed the door. Here comes Brett Suggs on the outside.
Suggs going to try to get back by Ryan Kuhn. It looks like the 33 saved quite a bit as well as he is trying to move forward late in this race. Behind them, they are 2 and 3 wide as Josh Cottle and Kyle Eli battle. Parker Traves, who led so much of this race, has slipped all the way back to 9th. Kuhn and Suggs still side by side for the 5th position as Dustin Monberquette down on the bottom. Caution is going to wait for an incident in the back of the field. And I think Hugo Paquette was involved. I see Eric Tracy around. And second caution of the night here on lap 115.
I think it started with Ty Majeski.
Yeah, RS Center and Ty Majeski got tangled up down the back straightaway. And then Hugo Paquette kind of piles in.
Looked like one of those situations where car's coming off the corner, this car, it has that yaw.
And how many times have we seen it, Billy? You get hooked in the right rear and you just get stuck together. And that's what happened. RS Center and Ty Majeski get hooked together, just left front to the right rear and just takes them both to the outside wall. That is a tough way to end the night for Ty Majeski, your quick qualifier, the Ryan Matthews Designs pole award tonight. Looked very promising for the 98, a lot of speed there, but just race strategy did not go his way tonight.
Dylan Bates, Hugo Paquette, and Eric Tracy all caught in that one.
Well, this caution going to reset the field back up, but time is running out. We're at 118. We're probably going to go back to green with about 5-6 laps to go. So time is running out for Ryan Kuhn, who is up to the 5th spot. But again, he's still got cars to pass if he wants to get anywhere near Trevor Edwards, and I just don't know if he's going to have time to get there.
Yeah, he was trying to make moves, but the traffic is just so thick. That's what I said earlier, is there's got to be a buffer between the cars out front. Parker Traves had been out there. Obviously, he has started to struggle in the 60 car very, very badly. But now it's Trevor Edwards that has that buffer of a group of other cars that have used up their tires as well. But Kuhn just not quite fast enough to just blow by those cars, and that's given Trevor Edwards the opportunity to continue to stay out front without having to worry about the cars that save tires.
Well, I should mention, though, we haven't had any cautions for me to talk about the sponsors, but Studio 10 Wraps provides some of the best wraps in motorsports with top quality vinyl and easy installs. Check them out at studio10wraps.com. And then also, guys, make sure you go check out piercefleet.com and serving all your repair and maintenance needs for over-the-road semi-trucks and trailers located in Weldon, North Carolina. They have over 80 years of combined mechanic experience and an extensive parts inventory, supplier network servicing all major brands of trailers. As we get set to go back to green flag racing, about 5 laps to go when they cross the line for Trevor Edwards. Kyle Meyer is going to start second with Joe Schaefer, Dustin Monmarquette, Ryan Kuhn, Brett Suggs. Well, we are back to green. Kyle Meyer going to try to get to the bottom. And look at Monmarquette and says, oh, if you're going to the bottom, I'll just run the top. And Brett Suggs going to take him 3 wide.
Brett Suggs poked his nose into the middle. Monmarquette does a really good job getting some momentum off the top, side by side. He's going to try to get to Kyle Meyer, but he's not going to be able to. Kyle Meyer now trying to get to Trevor Edwards to give him a challenge. They'll be side by side for third now. Here comes Monmarquette in the 16. And Ryan Kuhn going to go 3 wide on the bottom through turns 1 and 2.
Just running out of room there is Joe Schaefer up the middle. Brett Suggs on the top side. Ryan Kuhn had to back out of it. Nowhere to go as Trevor Edwards still leads this one. Now Kuhn going to make the move to the outside. Parker Traves is going around in the middle of 3 and 4. And Parker Traves led so many laps tonight, but the tires on the 60 machine are gone, and he was just kind of in the way, just struggling with what he had, and that car jumped sideways, and the car behind him, I think it was Matt Rolfe, just nowhere to go.
Yeah, that car has the look of a possible very, very damaged right rear.
Yeah, that thing just completely, it's like it just had nothing to lean on going into the corner. You could see it just start to slide and slide and slide. And that was Matt Rolfe in the 0 car behind him and just couldn't get that car woed up in time to keep from running over Parker Traves.
We'll actually take a look at it from Matt Rolfe's view. Not much you can see there, just bumper. The car starts to yaw a little bit in front of him, and then it's too late.
Yeah, it's so hard to judge the cornering speeds when one guy's tires are starting to wear like that. Matt Rolfe had been running around in the very back of the field for a long time. He was the last car in the race, running about 26th spot, and then he's got a lot of tire left. He's up to the 13th position right now, and cars on the move. Kyle Meyer from 12th to 2nd. Dustin Monmarquette started 14th, is up to 3rd tonight. Josh Cottle started 17th, is running 7th. Spencer Dickinson started 23rd. He is running 9th. Keith Jeffrey has gained a lot of spots as well, 25th to 12th with Matt Rolfe. I believe they're teammates in the 88 and the 0. So those guys kind of hung out in the back, and now they're starting to make a run at the top 10 here as we get set for a green-white checkered finish. Bill Parker Traves came over the chat. He actually claimed that one over the radio. Didn't want Matt Rolfe to take the EOL. He claimed it. He said he blew the right rear tire going into turn 3.
Yeah, it looked like a damaged right rear tire. I didn't want to go all the way to say that it looked like it was blown because you never know when that really happens, right? But the funny thing about it is these tires kind of blow the right rear, but there's still a little bit of grip there. It kind of looks like it goes onto dirt.
Yeah.
They don't just spin out like they would in real life. And so you can't really always, it's tough to tell, but yeah, I think that was a situation where that right rear was cooked on the 60 car.
Yeah, the field is narrowed down with just 17 cars still running in this one, 17 on the lead lap. Looks like Parker Traves is going to wind up about 19th spot tonight. Dylan Bates out of this race as well in 18th. As we get set to double them up for a green-white checkered attempt, 1 of 2 if needed here for the Semi-Auto Racing Association Pierce Fleet Service Super Series. Trevor Edwards has gotten himself out front, has led much of this race, but Kyle Meyer, Dustin Monmarquette, Brett Suggs, they are all lurking, trying to steal one away here. Edwards off and away. You can see Suggs pushing the 88 as well. Just didn't get a great restart. Whoever starts second just can't seem to keep up with the leader. But Kyle Meyer got a great run with that push from Brett Suggs. Does he have anything for Trevor Edwards here?
Those look like their team cars, Jeff. Both raceepi.com on the side. Meyer giving it everything he possibly can. That battle's still on for third. Ryan Kuhn stuck behind those guys.
Suggs around Monbarquette at the end. Can he take a run at Kyle Meyer? Meyer's going to defend.
Wow.
But off turn 4, it's going to be all Trevor Edwards going to pick up the win. The Studio 10 wraps 125. Kyle Meyer finishes second. Brett Suggs third. And I think Ryan Kuhn steals fourth at the end there over Monbarquette.
Trevor Edwards. What a performance from the 32 car. Just kind of was there the entire night, Jeff. Not a car that even thought about saving tires, just drove it to the front, and when he felt like it, he took the lead and never looked back. What a performance.
Yeah, it started night to night, and we talked about it. If anybody was going to get to the front and still be able to save tires, it could be Trevor Edwards, and this guy has been almost a dominant force right now in the late model stocks. I mean, he has really came out firing since this new car was introduced here at iRacing. And Trevor Edwards, who was the points leader, had to take a week off, missed some vacation, and he just picked up some big-time points tonight.
So very impressive. Just the way that he did that, Jeff. The way that he, there were other guys that saved tires, and he did not, just chose not to. It's like he knew something, drove it right to the. God, it's so impressive. I'm so impressed by what Trevor Edwards was just able to pull off. Just was not concerned with what else was going on the racetrack. Ran his pace and drove away.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic drive from Trevor Edwards tonight. Joe Schaefer going to get credit with a 6th place finish. Josh Cottle 7th from 17th. A heck of a run there. Spencer Dickinson 23rd to 8th. Bill, I think the Jeff By Jr. Art Hard Charger Award going to go to Matt Rolfe tonight, 26th to 9th. Eric Tracy as well, 24th to 10th. Eric Tracy was involved in a few incidents, and he rallied at the end there.
Yeah, he did. I saw him backwards just prior to that time of jet ski wreck. Eric Tracy was involved in that one. So to get up and pick up a 10th spot, a huge night for Eric Tracy.
Well, I think we're going to get a chance to talk to Trevor Edwards. We're waiting on him to make it to the booth.
I think he's pretty familiar with where the booth is.
Yeah, I mean, he's making us wait on him.
He's been in the booth pretty often in that 32 car. So, Jeff, what do you want to ask him about? No, I'm kidding.
Well, there we go. I see him now.
Making his way into the booth.
Well, Trevor Edwards going to join us in the broadcast booth. And Trevor, we said it early when you were on the charge to the front, and we were talking about some of the guys going to the front early. Maybe they were going to burn their stuff up. I think I told Bill, I was like, if anybody can get to the front and save, it's Trevor Edwards. And boy, did you do it. You got control of this race early on, and you still had tire at the end.
Yeah, I didn't want to do a burnout because I wanted to see how much tire I had left, and it was all right.
You're not going to share any actual
Yeah, I
numbers,
thought
huh?
he was going to give it to us. He didn't.
No,
Dang it.
no. The right rear was had less tire than the right front. I'll give you that. It was really, man, this thing was really good though. Like it was on rails. Once I cleared Parker there, it was racing really hard. I know he didn't want to give it up for the lead. I knew I was way faster because I was catching him about a tenth and a half a lap. Once I got in front of him, I ran it decently for like 2 or 3 laps, and then I just tried to match his times because people behind him weren't going to catch me. He was my only person I was racing against, so I just wanted to make sure I could keep a decent enough gap there at the end.
Well, talk about Trevor. It's like you found something different that other people haven't figured out yet. Maybe you have. I don't want you to disclose that. But you say you're racing Parker Traves. Parker Traves blew his tire. Like that car was gone. So what is it? Like I said, I don't want you to disclose any kind of secrets or anything like that. But were you aware? Did you know that you had enough car? You were going to have enough car, even though we went so many green flag laps?
Yeah, I mean, I never felt like the balance shifted. Like in this car, when you start having tires go bad, the balance will shift on you real quick. And then I did get worried one time with about 20 to go. I had that lead on Parker, and I wasn't like pushing super. I was probably like 85% maybe. And Jeek's like, I got the tire warning, and I'm like, well, he's been saving more than me, so what the heck did I do? And he made it to the end, but like that had me worried a little bit. So then I don't know if there was a lap where I lost like a tenth and a half. I just backed it off. I was like, you know what? I want to say even hopefully I can make it to the end because then I started getting a little worried. And then we had those cautions. I knew I was probably good. And luckily I had three teammates right there at the end. It sucks. Barbecue couldn't finish third, get a sweep the podium, but we'll take a 1-2 for EPI.
Well, you guys had that long 106 lap green flag run, and I know that kind of wears you out as a driver, but you also built a nice lead up. So was it kind of bittersweet to see that yellow come out? Like you needed the break, but you didn't necessarily want to give up the lead?
Oh yeah, dude. I don't know with this car, like it just fits my driving style very well. I used to run modifieds in real life on 8-inch tires. So like you had to save tire, you had to be conscious of what you're doing all the time. I think that's what's helped me the most. But yeah, during that long green flag run, I heard the guys would be talking in Discord like, he's blocking me or something. I'm like, just don't wreck him. Whatever you do, don't wreck him. I don't need that. So, but yeah, it's like I said, this thing it's been on rails since Myrtle Beach when I won the first time. So this is cool. I haven't won two Super Series races in a single season since like 2017. So this is pretty cool.
Well,
Yeah,
now you're
you act
the
like that's so
first
long
repeat
ago.
winner.
Yeah. That's what's been cool. If you notice, I don't think a single team until tonight has won two races. So like there's been a lot of parity in it, and the races seem to be different. I personally love the hot, afternoon races. The hotter the better for me, because I feel like what I have built here has really worked on that style of racetrack.
So talk about a 106 lap green flag run, Trevor. What did Jeff and I kind of talked about how the focus can kind of wear you out a little bit. We were kind of saying, these guys aren't used to this. Did you? I mean, and we might just be older, out of shape guys. They get worried about those kind of things. But especially being on a sim, what does it feel like to go 106 laps? Do you start to feel it? Do you start to think about it as it's going that long?
Not in this car that much, not in my opinion. The Super, if we had a 106 lap run, I'd been worn out. My shoulder would have been hurting. But this car is just kind of just hitting your marks, getting a rhythm, get some lap time that you like. Uh, Another thing, I don't know, maybe it's because I've started doing the cold plunge because I'm old and it makes me feel better. And then I have some like Blu-ray glasses that have tremendously helped my eyes while I'm racing.
Well, Trevor, you had the points lead a week ago, and then you had to miss a race due to a vacation. You had plans to go out to the beach,
Hmm.
and you missed Southern National. But then you come back firing with a win. And does this make you feel like, you know what, I'm not out of this championship yet? I still got a chance.
Yeah, I should after drops. I should have a decent little lead, probably 10 or 12 points. The thing that's killing me right now is Kuhn's able to qualify. So good, he's getting bonus points every week for that. So the only way I can fight back for that is either a hard charger, but I've been qualifying top 10, so I'm not going to get that. But uh, probably just leading laps, winning races. That's all I can do. I've my whole life when I raced in real life, it was just control what you can control. Don't worry about what other guys are doing. There's a couple times I asked like, "Where's how far's Kuhn back tonight?" And at one point, I think someone said he was like 12th or 13th. So I was like, man, if he gets stuck back there, like this could be a turning point of the season. So, but I seen he got back to what fourth, so he did a hell of a run again. I mean, you can't count him out at all times.
So no more vacations scheduled, right, Trevor? That's not
Mm-mm.
all right.
Blame that on Matt because I'm pretty sure I messaged him in the off season and said, hey, I'm going on vacation this week. Give us an off week, and he must have misread my text, or he just doesn't like me, one of the two, and put it the week before. The week before.
Well, before we let you go, Trevor, let's talk. Let's give a shout out to the race team. You guys are killing it right now. Like you said, you almost swept the podium. Who do you want to give thanks to tonight?
Each and every person at the shop, man, they put in so much hard work. I love this group. It's the best group I've ever worked with in my entire life. We wouldn't have the speed we have now if it wasn't for the hours we put in testing when this car first came out and found, different things in the car. I think Kyle Captures, he'll have this car looking really good on that win poster later. Everybody at Elite Performance Industries, go grab the setup. It's just, man, it's been a pleasure working with them. They always support me. Super nice guys. And then just got to thank you guys for broadcasting the course, and so I can show off this hot rod and Justin Brooks Designs for painting it. I've had really good luck since I switched over to Justin Brooks Designs. So if you're having any bad luck on the racetrack, I would recommend go get a Brooks.
It's all about the paint scheme.
Well,
I'm telling
Trevor,
you, man, I'm superstitious as hell. I don't ever drink red or any kind of like energy drinks. Every Thursday, I drink a watermelon Red Bull because I did that at Myrtle Beach and we won. So if you see me at a gas station on a Thursday grabbing a Red Bull, you know why.
all right, Trevor, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us. Congratulations, first repeat winner of the season for the SARA Super Series, 2 wins in the bank.
Thank you guys. Hopefully to talk to you again at Richmond after the race.
Absolutely. Off week, and then we'll be back at Richmond in 2 weeks. Well, joining us now, our second place finisher, Kyle Meyer. Kyle, I hate to say, like when people we don't talk to them a lot, that they haven't had great seasons. Your best finish was 12th coming into tonight, and then a top two run there. And it seemed like you found something. You were able to get to the front, and you didn't burn up the tires. You were able to run right with Trevor Edwards at the end. What was it this week that you found different?
It's just all they'd give me. They make my job easy. The car that they give us to drive is it just drives on its own, really. I mean, I feel like I've always been good at saving tire, but and I usually end up better later, but I've always been too far back to go forward. So I figured today I was just going to try to match Trevor's pace, and somehow I managed to do it to a point.
So was that the difference this week, Kyle? We've seen you every single week. You come and run at ITZR now as well, and we of course we appreciate that. But this race was different for you. You were able to put it in the top three, and obviously almost win this thing. We thought maybe there was a shot. You were gonna have a shot at Trevor at the end. So was that the strategy? Is try to match what Trevor was doing and just kind of see where the cards fall?
Well, I didn't really have a strategy. I figured I'd see how the first 10, 15 laps went, and if I could go with Trevor, and it seemed like a good idea to just if I figured if he's going, then I should probably go with. Try to learn something along the way, and it worked out.
Well, Kyle, now big swing of the points for you. You're gonna leave here eighth in the standings, and that's gonna be a bit of a confidence boost as well, right? Heading into Richmond in 2 weeks, gonna be another kind of big, wide open speedway racetrack like we had tonight. It's gonna be a confidence booster for you that there's still spots out there for you to gain in the standings, right?
Oh yeah, I'm just happy to finish top 15, top 10 in these. To be honest with you, I mean I've always struggled in these, and this season's the first season I felt like I've had any type of pace, and it's just been trying to put it all together, working on my craft, and keep plugging away at it. So I'm tickled. Best finish I've ever had in the league. Probably the best I've ever been in points. I can't thank the guys at the shop enough,
So
especially Trevor, Josh, all them guys.
what does that feel like, Kyle? I mean, we know we know coming in this series, you know how tough it is to finish in the top three. You know how tough it is now to get on the you obviously get on the broadcast, talk to us, so you pretty feel good about that part. But it's difficult, right? So what does that feel like to pick up a second place finish here in the SARA Super Series?
I don't even have any words other than this is awesome. Like I said, this is the first season I felt like I've personally had any pace. Um, those guys definitely make it 10 times easier to run that pace, and I I can't I can't just say how
Just
happy and great.
speechless, right? Just
Yeah,
speechless.
I don't know. That's best spot I've ever been in.
Well, Kyle, you keep saying those guys, they gave you a good setup tonight, and we like to give everybody a chance to name the people they got to name. And I know you got some people that have helped you out, so let's hear it. Who helped you out this week?
All the shop guys: Trevor, Josh, Spencer, Aaron, Barbecue, Keith, Tyler Payne at Elite Performance Industries for allowing me to be a part of his team. Um, I just everybody that's involved.
Well, Kyle, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us. Congratulations, career run tonight, and you're up. You're actually tied with Spencer Dickinson in the points tonight, so you guys are tied for eighth, and we look forward to seeing how that goes. Kind of a little rivalry between teammates there heading into Richmond in 2 weeks.
No rivalry here. I appreciate it, boys.
All right, Kyle. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Well, joining us now, our third place finisher, Brett Suggs. And Brett, you were one of the guys that kind of dropped out of the top 10. You fell back to about 15th spot. You were saving tires with Kuhn and Parker Retzlaff. Did you hit a point in that green flag run where you thought, oh no, we picked the wrong strategy here tonight?
Yeah, definitely. Right around 30 to go, I was starting to get a little bit worried. I had just gotten the warning, I think around 30, 25, 30 to go, that I had a tire starting to wear out about 50%. And I knew we still had a fast car, but everybody was so sprung out there that we weren't really going to be able to make anything happen. And to see I don't know if Aaron Abendroth is the one that brought out the caution because I guess there was another wreck at the same time, but that was a turning point in the race for us for sure.
When that yellow did come out, Brett, did you think at this point, like, here we go, I've got a shot at this thing, or were you still kind of, you guys were still the tire savers were still sitting right around eighth, and you think it was going to still be a really difficult task?
Yeah, I did. I think we restarted 12th there, and you know, I knew we had a really fast car, and with Shane Williams and Lee Norton up in the tower for me, we were starting to reel in that pack. Aside from Kuhn, I battled with him for a little bit, but saw he was definitely much quicker, so let him on go. Didn't want to really put up a fight because he had a fast car, and I mean, it showed. He pulled us about 10 car lengths, but we kind of evenly caught the pack in front of us. So I knew if we would get that yellow flag, then we'd have a good shot at it. I was really just hoping for a top five, and then we got a few key yellow flags right there, and was able to restart on the top side, which the car was great up there, and make some daring moves and get it where it needed to go.
Well, Brett, we talked about at the opening of the show tonight that this was kind of a little bit of a preview of what's to come for the Cars Tour at North Wilkesboro next week, and you're one of those guys. You're sitting fourth in the pro late points in real life for the Cars Tour. But I think I saw on Facebook that you weren't sure if you were going to be able to make it. You were looking for some help, some sponsorship to get there. Did you find that sponsorship? And if not, where can people find you to go reach out about maybe helping you out to get to North Wilkesboro?
Yeah, so we're definitely close on the funding that we need to get there. We needed to get our entry in, just because entries were closing and we had to just pull the trigger and get our entry in. But we're still a little bit off our number that we're shooting for funding wise for next Tuesday, Wednesday. And if folks are interested in supporting the program, like you said, we're sitting really strong, fourth in points right now. Just head on over to Brett Suggs Racing Marketing Facebook page. You can send me a message or head to my website, brettsuggsracing.com. Shoot me a email on there. Either way works. But like you said, this was a good preview for what's to come next week at Wilkesboro, and I was able to spend a little bit of time there yesterday evening, checking out the track, meeting some fans, signing some hero cards, and it's truly remarkable what they've done to the place, and I'm pumped, especially after a good run tonight, to get out there on the track and see what we got.
Well, this needs to happen, Brett. We need to make this happen where you race, because I need somebody to root for when I'm watching the pro late model race. I mean, I was rooting for you at Ace last week, and that didn't go great, but wasn't bad either, right?
Yeah, it was a solid night. We definitely held our heads high after that one. P3 in qualifying, which just that alone had our night, looking pretty good. It could have ended right there, and we all would have been satisfied, beating some of the big teams like the Anthony Campy, Donnie Wilson, Rackley War teams. So that was a special moment for us and the TH Motorsports crew. And then in the race, we tightened up a little bit around probably 50 laps in. Got a little bit too snug and just lost a few spots, ended up seventh. But overall, I mean, great points night. Picked up 2 spots on the points championship. We're not committed to the full season yet, as we're still looking for funding to help us get there. But we've got a really strong program, and I think Wilkesboro can be a good showing for us.
Well, Brett, if they go 106 laps in real life green flag, you gonna make it?
Well, fortunately, we're only doing 75. So
Oh, there you go.
All right, how does 75 feel, Brett? That'll be tough too.
Yeah, you're right. 75 is going to be tough. I mean, this is a huge track. Biggest track I've ever raced on was Myrtle Beach a couple years ago, and that was a half mile. So coming to a 5/8 here of Wilkesboro, it's I walked the track yesterday, and it's intimidating just seeing how big the place is. I know it's a lot of speed, and it would definitely hurt to get up in the safer barriers there, but I mean, I think some of this practice on iRacing is going to help a little bit, but I do know the line is totally different than what we do here on iRacing. So kind of just jumping into the weekend with an open mind, and going to go and watch last year's races, Cars Tour race, the Super Series race that they ran there. Going to watch those back, try to learn as much as we can, and really save tires. I think that's going to be the name of the game more so than tonight was. You might see some people save until 15 to go, like that late into the race,
Wow.
before they start making a charge forward.
Well, Brett, before we let you get out of here, is there anybody you want to thank? We know it takes a lot of people to be able to run up front in these open setup races.
Yeah, I just really want to thank the guys that have, put so much time in. I didn't turn a lap of practice, and I know some people test for 1,000 laps or 2 weeks or something like this. I hopped on at 9:30, qualified went 5th, which we were stunned about. Pretty happy for that. And then a good race run with, my practice was the warm-up session when we jumped in the session here. So just that's a big shout out to Shane Williamson, Lee Norton, everybody at the Jones Barbecue Shack, just putting in a lot of time and giving us a fast hot rod anytime we hop on track here. So big shout out to those guys, as well as McConey Setup Shop. They announced that they're coming back for Wilkesboro, so really honored to have Jeff McConey and everybody at McConey Setup Shop tagging along for the big race. And Lake Norman Power Clean, of course, get your free estimate if you're in the Mooresville, Lake Norman surrounding areas. Pressure washing services, commercial, residential, you name it. Lake Norman Power Cleaning can take care of you. As well as Racer Tees, of course, knocking out our sick graphics all the time. LMI, North Creek Construction, TH Motorsports, Racing America. We've got a lot of supporters that have helped us get to this point, and we're certainly looking to add some more to keep the momentum going.
All right, Brett. Well, an off week next week, so we hope to see you May 25th when we go to Richmond for the Cottle Captures 100.
Yeah, hopefully I'm in town. I have to check my schedule, but if we're in town, we'll be there.
All right. Well, we hope to see you there in 2 weeks.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for all you do for the broadcast.
Thank you. Well, Bill, that is going to be a wrap for us tonight. The Studio 10 Raps 125. I think that might have been the best race of the season so far. I mean, that was fantastic. Not only a huge green flag run, but I mean, that came down to a lot of strategy at the end there. And some of those guys that saved, they saved a little too much. And that was the key tonight.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I mean, we saw strategies play out, strategies not work, strategies you thought might work here at North Wilkesboro didn't work because we had so many green flag laps. I mean, that was just fantastic. That was just fun. That was super fun. I like seeing that kind of race, happen because you get to see those things go on during the race. You see guys like Ryan Kuhn coming off a win, basically makes a mistake on strategy and isn't able to get back to the front.
Well, SARA's taking an off week next week, so they have Thursday night off. I believe the Contender Series is running on Wednesday night at North Wilkesboro, but you might want to double check that if you follow their Facebook page, or you can go to racesara.com and you can see the full schedule. We'll be back in 2 weeks for May 25th, the Cottle Captures 100 from Richmond. And Bill, we know how good this car races at Richmond. That is going to be another banger of a race.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a ton of fun. And I'll tell you what, Kyle Meyer made my night tonight, Jeff. He clearly was nervous about talking to us. But I mean, his expectation is to run top 15 in his races. Puts the car on the podium, runs second. I mean, that's awesome. That's the best night he's had ever, and he's here every single week. He runs ITCR, like he's getting better. He's trying to get better on these short track stuff and to put it into second place. Good for him. That's gonna keep a smile on my face all night.
Yeah, it's always fun. It's tough because with a lot of these guys like Trevor and Brett, we talk to them so often. It's like getting in the chat with the buddies. And but Kyle Meyer getting in here, maybe a little nervous doing his interview, but I mean, it was a breakout night for him. I mean, he was one of those guys. He's always been around the top 10, but hasn't had that run like that yet. And tonight he shows up, and it's just a confidence builder. Now all of a sudden you've got this guy that, hey, guess what? He can fire off a win maybe.
Yeah, best night ever. That's good for him. Good job, Kyle Meyer.
Well, we are going to return back to racing next Monday. That's the 15th, May 15th and 16th, with the ITZR Elite Performance Industries Late Model Shootout Series and the County Road Custom Late Model Challenger from South Boston. The Toyota Volkswagens of Worcester 125s Monday and Tuesday night. Then again, we'll be off next Thursday, but then we'll return on the 25th for the Cottle Captures 100 from Richmond Speedway. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, In the Zone Racing. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. Thank you to everybody that hung out all night long. I hope you enjoyed that fantastic race, and we will see you next Monday night.